Good morning. Today we are going to go through the pretest which was written when the winter classes started. So we are having our question paper here. Here are the instructions. If we check the topics that we here is differential calculus, functions, then probability. Then we are given the instructions. We have 3 questions, answer all questions, show all working. All those instructions that are provided. Then we go to the first question. If we now check the first question, here it is. We are given the sketch shows the graph of fx equal to minus 2x squared minus 4x plus 6 and gx. Then a, b, and c are the intercepts. It is a, b, and c. They are the intercepts of f with the coordinate axis, meaning as we can see, our a and our b are the x-intercepts and the c is the y-intercept. Then we are also told t is the turning point of the graph of f. Here is t. The graph of gx is equal to mx. Here is our g. We are told it's mx plus c. It's a straight line parallel to AC. Here is AC, where A is x-intercept of f and c is y-intercept of f. And there's a tangent that gx is a tangent to f at d as illustrated on this diagram. Then we go to our questions. Here, the first question is saying determine. There is our first question. It's saying determine. Question 1.5. Determine the length of OC and the length of AB. Meaning to say we need, so our O here, we know the coordinates are 0, 0. So we need the coordinates of C. If you check what's our C is y-intercept. How do we get the coordinates at y-intercept? Y-intercept, we know x is equal to 0. Let's go to our graph. Then we check. So if you check, the function was given as fx equal to, where it is negative 2x squared positive 4x positive 6. Take note here, it's negative 4x, not, you have to take note here, it's negative 4x squared so when we substitute, because here this part here is the one which is representing our y there, our fx is the one representing our y. So if that's our y, so it means therefore our y will be equal to, substitute 0, negative 2, 0 squared minus 4, 0 plus 6. Take note there. Plus 6 there. So eventually we are left with the y equal to 6. So our coordinates at C, it means are given by 0, 6. And we realized that our coordinates at O needs 0, 0. So here we need the distance, because the question wanted the distance OC. So it means you can use the distance formula. You can use the distance formula. So if you check on our formula sheet, here is our formula sheet. So utilizing our formula sheet, we can apply the distance formula. Here is our distance formula. Here it is. So the distance formula, it means it's going to be equal to, applying that, using O and C. So it means that the distance of OC will be equal to, we are having the distance formula, x1, x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. This is going to give us, if we take these coordinates, maybe this is our x1, this one our y1, this one becomes our x2, this one becomes our x1, sorry, our x2, it becomes our y2. Take note there, here is x2, here it becomes our y2. Applying those, so it means we have to substitute those values. When you substitute those values, you'll be left with 0 minus 0 squared plus 6, which is 0 there, because we are saying y2 minus 1 minus 6 there squared. Then you trust your calculator, your distance is gonna be equal to 6. But alternatively, you have to just take note that it's vertical distance here. Since it's vertical distance, you just have to say y on top minus y below. So here we found our coordinates to be, when we calculated the coordinates of C, we found them to be 0, 6. So you can just say, since it's a vertical line OC, y on top minus y below. So it means OC, it was possible that we just say 6 minus 0. This is our y on top, this is our y below, which is going to give us 6 units there. So it means there it's 6 units. The distance then the next question you are required to calculate, we are still 1.1. 1.1.1. So from there, we need to also calculate the distance of AB, but take note we need the coordinates of A and B, which are x-intercepts. So it means that we have to calculate the x-intercept. So x-intercept, we have to know that y is equal to 0. Then substituting, it therefore means that taking our function here, so it means we are going to substitute our y with a 0 being equal to 2x squared minus 4x plus 6. And take note, this one is negative. Then if we divide throughout by -2, meaning to say you divide throughout by -2, so that our equation in its simplest form, you'd realize that 0 is equal to x squared. If you divide here by -2, it becomes plus 2x, then minus 3. When we now have this equation, it means you can apply factorization. So 0 is equal to factorize this, we are going to have x minus 3, x plus 3 here, then x minus 1 there. Then we equate each factor to 0. X plus 3 equal to 0, or x minus 1 equal to 0. So we are left with your x equal to -3, or x equal to positive 1. Meaning to say, if you check from our diagram here, if we are to check from our diagram, it therefore means that we now have the coordinates of A and B, so we can put them. So the coordinates of our A here, the coordinates of our A are given by here, are going to be given by negative 3, 0, or they are going, and the coordinates of B are going to be given by 1, 0, there. So if we are to calculate the distance, it means you can still come and apply the distance formula there. So how are we going to apply the distance formula? So it will therefore mean that the distance of AB will be equal to the square root of, so come here to the set of coordinates. It means this set of coordinates, we can say this is our x1, this is our y1, this becomes our x2, this is our y2. Then apply the distance formula using the coordinates of A and B. It will therefore mean that here we are going to have 1 minus 3 there. This one squared plus 0 minus 0 squared, which is going to give us 4 units. Just go to the calculator and punch that. It's going to give us 4 units. But take note, this AB is a horizontal line, so it was possible that to get that, you were just going to say AB will be equal to X value on the right, which is 1. Sorry. So we are saying it was possible that would just that AB equal to X value on the right, which is 1, minus the X value on the left there, which is minus 3. When you simplify this, it therefore means the answer was going to give you 4 units straight. So take note there. Then when solving this, it was possible to note that it was possible to also use the quadratic formula here to solve the quadratic equation. Take note here. It was possible that we use the quadratic formula, but to use the quadratic formula, you use it from the standardized equation here. And where are we having the quadratic formula? If we go to our formula sheet, here is our quadratic formula. You have to familiarize yourself with the formula sheet. Here is the quadratic formula, the first formula on our formula sheet. Here, that's where we have our quadratic formula, and make sure that you copy it correctly. Then we go to the next question here. The next question was saying determine the equation of the axis of symmetry of the graph. You have to take note that the equation of the axis of the graph is just asking you if whether you know the x-coordinate at turning point. You just need to know the x-coordinate at turning point. So for you to answer that question, which is 1.1.2, it therefore means it was going to be, let's go to that one, 1.1.2. It means at turning point, your x is equal to minus b over 2a. So from the equation that we have there, from the equation that we have of our function, we are given, you can see our a, which is the coefficient of x squared, is minus 2. Our b, which is the coefficient of x, is minus 4. Then our c, which is the constant, is equal to 6. So using those, we can determine the equation of the axis of symmetry. So it means our axis of symmetry, the equation is given by x is equal to minus our b, it's minus 4, divided by 2. Our a, it's minus 2. When you punch that on your calculator, it therefore means that x is equal to positive. Oh, if you check punching this on your calculator, you are getting x is equal to negative 1. This is the equation of axis of symmetry. So you have to take note that the equation of the axis of symmetry, is a vertical line. For a parabola, is a vertical line. Then we go to the next question. If you check the next question here, it was requesting the calculation of show that the length of ST. If you check from the provided information, what they said about ST, you need to know that the T is the turning point there of F. And if you check S there, it's a point which is perpendicular, is a point on the x-axis such that ST is perpendicular to the x-axis. So you'd realize that ST is a vertical line. So it means we have to calculate the coordinates at T. So for us to calculate the coordinates at T, here we go. We now have the x coordinate at turning point. We are on question 1.1.3. We have the x coordinate at turning point, which we found to be negative 1. Sorry. What's happening? So we were saying from the previous question, we obtained that our x is equal to negative 1. We have to substitute that x to get the corresponding y value. So the y will be equal to negative 2, then x squared, but our x is negative 1 squared plus, here we are going to have, no, it's not a plus there, it's minus 4x, but our x is a negative 1, then plus c, our c, which is 6 there. When you simplify that, you have to punch on your calculator. Punching that part on the calculator, we are going to get our y is equal to 8. Our y is equal to 8. So conclusively, we can realize that we are having the coordinate of t. If you check the coordinates of t, since t is the turning point, it's given by minus 1, 8. Then we are having the coordinates of s, where s is that point on the x-intercept, on the x-axis, and it means it's minus 1. The x value there is minus 1. Then here it's 0. And if you check ST, as we can see, it's a vertical line. And from the previous question, we said to calculate the distance of 2 points, whereby one is vertical above the other, you just say y above minus y below. So using these 2 points, it therefore means that our TS is equal to y above, which is 8, minus y below, which is 0. So this will be equal to 8 units. This will be equal to 8 units. Alternatively, because we have the coordinates of t and the coordinates of s, therefore means we can come and apply the distance formula. Here we have our distance formula. Then we use the coordinates of our t and the coordinates of our s to get that. Then we go to the next question. It's saying, if the graph gx equal to mx plus is a straight line through D parallel to AC, calculate the gradient of AC. If we are to check there, let's go, it's question 1.1.4. So we go to that question 1.1.4. Let's go there. One point 1.4, part A. So you have to know that the coordinates of A, here it is. We have to know that the coordinates of A, from our diagram, we realized that the coordinates of A are -3, 0, and the coordinates of C have been obtained to be equal to -0, 6. So to get this gradient, we have to go to the formula sheet. So on the formula sheet, we have to use the formula for gradient. If we are to check from our formula sheet here, we just have to choose the formula for gradient. If we check, we are having 2 points, so it means the formula that we have to use for gradient, here it is. So copy that formula and utilize it. So it means the gradient of AC will be equal to y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. So if you go to your coordinates, if you decide that your A is your x1 and your y1, then it means this one will be having our x2 and our y2. Simplifying that, it means we are now going to be having our gradient is here, it's gonna be 6 minus 0 divided by 0, which is that -3. Trusting the calculator, if we go to the calculator, our gradient is giving us 2. So 2 becomes the gradient. Then the next question, it's saying it wants the coordinates of D. But if you are take note, you are told that Gx is equal to that, and you are told that this line is parallel to AC. So we can conclude that the gradient of Gx, let's go. So we are answering part B there. We can conclude that the gradient of Gx must be equal to the gradient of AC. But if you check Gx here, you are told that here, the Gx, you are told that it's a tangent. Gx, this one, you are told it's a tangent. This one, we are told Gx is a tangent to Fx equal to -2x squared minus 4x plus 6. So to get the equation of a tangent at any point, it means you have to get the first derivative of this graph. So here, it means the gradient of this can be denoted by f prime of x. And what's f prime of x? Applying the rules, it means we bring down the power there. We are applying the rules. This is part B. We bring down the power. We have coefficient. We bring down the power, which is 2. Then we are left with x to the power 2 minus 1. Then there minus 4. So this is equal to what? It's going to give us minus 4x minus 4x minus 4. That is the gradient function of the tangent. So it's the gradient of that. But we know the gradient of gx is equal to gradient of AC. Why are we saying this? Because we are told that gx is parallel to AC. So it therefore means we can now equate here minus 4x minus 4. This can now be equated to the gradient of AC, which we obtained to be 2 there. Then if we are to simplify this, it therefore means that our negative 4x will be equal to, our negative 4x will be equal to 6. Then simplifying that, we divide both sides by a negative 4. Here you divide by a negative 4. Here you divide by a negative 4. So conclusively, we can now say our x there. We can now say that our x is equal to negative 3 over 2. Once you get the x value, here 3 over 2, we now want the corresponding y value at point D. So to get the corresponding y value, we are now going to substitute this value that we obtained of x, this value here, we obtained here, we have to come and substitute it in our fx there to get the corresponding y value. So what's happening now? It's freezing. So we're saying we substitute this value. We have to substitute it in that. So it therefore means, take note here, we get a negative 3 over 2. So you substitute that. So it means the y value will be equal to a negative 2. Then we are having a negative 3 over 2 squared minus 4, a negative 3 over 2 plus 6. Simplifying that value, we have to go to the calculator. You have to go to the calculator. If you go to the calculator, you would realize that your y gonna be equal to, okay, let's utilize the calculator. Yeah. Let's try use the calculator. Okay. Perfect. So it means using the calculator, we are having minus 2, which is now having minus 3 over 2 over 2 squared minus 4, which is going to be multiplied by minus 3 over 2 plus 6 there. So our answer is 15 over 2. There, it's 15 over 2. So we have to go. So here, our y gonna be 15 over 2. So eventually, the coordinates of D are going to be a negative 3 over 2 with a 15 over 2. This becomes our answer. Then we go to the next question. If we check, that's our next question. There, here it is. So our next question, you are given the graph, the fx equal to a to the power x, where a is greater than 1 is shown there with t being equal to that. Then the first part is saying calculate the value of a. So for you to calculate the value of a, it simply means you have to take your equation. So 1.2.1, we are going to take our fx equal to a to the power x. But bear in mind, here, our fx here is the one which represents our y. So it means we have to substitute the point that we are given in that function. So here our y is 9. So it means 9 is equal to a to the power x. Our x there is 2. We can express, if you check, since we are told that a is greater than 1, so it means we solve for a by putting the square root both sides, put the square root there. So it therefore square root of a is a here. We are not going to put plus or minus y because we are already told that our answer is positive there. So our a is equal to 3. That the first solution. Then the next question is saying determine the equation of gx if gx is equal to f a negative x. So if you are to check that one, what it simply means is that we are having fx there initially on question 1.2.2. It means we are starting from our fx, which is equal to a, but we already know our a is 3 to the power x there. Then what this statement simply means is that wherever there was x in the original equation, we are now going to substitute by a negative x. So it will therefore mean that our gx will be equal to 3. Where there is x, you just substitute a negative x. So this becomes our solution for the second question. Then the third question is saying determine the values of x for which the inverse is greater than or equal to 2. If you check, we now want the inverse there. So if we are to check the inverse here by just looking at this graph. Let's go to the graph. By just looking at this graph, it simply means that to get the inverse, it's going to be a reflection along the line y equal to x there. We are going to have a line y equal to x there. So the reflection will be something like this. And you'd realize that the point 2, 9 is now going to change to be a point 9, 2 there, because when the relationship between f and its inverse, it simply means the x and the y's are going to interchange. So we are saying for which fx is greater than 2, if you check, it can only be greater than 2 after this point, and it means the value of x will be greater than 9 there. So greater than or equal to 9. So here, it therefore means the solution there. Okay, let me just put that's inverse. So if I was to put a horizontal line there at 2, you'd realize that we are having a function of y equal to 2 here. Okay. Yeah. And they are saying where it lead. So it's after 9. So our solution here was gonna be saying the solution was gonna be saying for 1.2.3 was gonna be saying y is, sorry, it's x, not y, was gonna be x is greater than or equal to 9. Then the next question is wanting the domain. If you check here, after I have just sketched the domain, it means our asymptote was now the y-axis. So it means our graph is on the right side of our y-axis. So 1.2.4 therefore means that our domain was going to be given as x is greater than 0. And take note, it's not going to accommodate or equal to y because the y-axis is the asymptote there. Then we move on to the next question. We are given the graph there below is defined by that. Then C there is 4, 0 is the x-intercept. The question is saying determine the coordinates of the turning points D and E of F. So whenever you want to get the coordinates of turning point, there are steps that we have to follow. Number 1, we have to find the first derivative. So it means we are going to say to determine f prime of x. That is step number 1 there. So if we simplify that, it therefore means we are going to have, we bring down the 3. So it's going to be 3x. Then on the power, we subtract 1. So 3x squared there minus, we bring down the 2. So it multiplies the 4. So it's going to be minus 8. There, when you subtract 1 on the power, it's going to be minus 8x. Then here, minus 3. Then the constant, it gives us 0. Then the second step, so this was step number 1. The second step, you have to know that at turning point, f prime must be equal to 0. We said where? At turning point. So it simply means our second step, we have to equate that first derivative to is 8x, not just 8, is 8x. There, you equate that to 0. Then you can use any method, factorization, quadratic formula. But in this case, we are going to use the quadratic formula. So to get the quadratic formula, we illustrated that's the first formula from our formula sheet. Here is our quadratic formula. You just have to copy and apply that. So we are now going to get, that's our step number 3 there. You solve. So we know our x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And take note, when dealing with this type of question, notation is very important. So here we need to see that it's f prime, because if you write fx, you are going to lose marks. Then f prime, here we are solving for x. So now substitute from here our equation. What are our values of a, b, and c? If you check there, our a is equal to the coefficient of x squared, which is 3. Then our b is equal to the coefficient of x, which is negative 8. Then our c is equal to the constant, which is negative 3. Just substituting those values, it means our x will be equal to minus b. But what's our b? There, we said it's negative 8 plus or minus the square root of b squared. So it's negative 8 minus 4a. Our a is 3. Our c is a negative 3 all over 2. The a there is 3. Then you simplify that. It therefore means we have to go to the calculator. There, it simply means you have to go to the calculator. Trust your calculator. Avoid doing those things mentally. So when you go to the calculator, what are we going to get? Here is our calculator. So let's simplify. So we are going to get minus, what's our b? Minus 8 plus the square root of b squared, which is minus 8 squared minus 4. The a is 3. The c is negative 3 all over 2. What's the a? The a is 3 again. Simplify. We are getting a 3. If we go and put minus there, so our answers, it means our x is equal to here, it means our x is equal to a negative 1 over 3 or the x is equal to a 3. Once you get these x values, you have to go to get the corresponding y values. Why? Because the question was requesting the coordinates at turning point, not only the x values. So you substitute the x values there. Where are we going to substitute the x values? It means we are now going to substitute in the given function. So y will be equal to, first, when x is equal to negative third. So it means it's going to be a negative third cubed minus 4. We have a negative third squared minus 3. We have a negative third plus 12. That here, that was when x is equal to a negative 1 over 3. Then we also need the other y, that is when x is equal to 3. So it means that one will be saying y is equal to 3 cubed minus 4, 3 squared minus 3 plus 12. Here you just have to go to the calculator. When you go to the calculator, what are we getting? Here it is. So it means we are going to have minus 1 over 3 minus 1 over 3, and take note, it's gonna be cubed minus 4. 4 is going to be multiplied by minus 1 over 3 squared, then minus 3 times a minus 1 over 3 plus 12. So the answer is going to be what? Is 338 over 27. We are getting 338 over 27. Then you also do that with 3. So it means we need to substitute 3. So here, substitute 3. Here, substitute 3. Here, substitute 3. Then our answer oh, I made a mistake. Our answer is minus 6 there. So eventually, here, you would realize that what is it that we got? When we substituted negative, that we got 338 over 27. Then when we substituted here, what is it that we got? We got a negative 6. At the end of the day, we need to write our answers in coordinate form. So it therefore means that our D is the one which is having an X which is negative. So it therefore means the coordinates of D are going to be a negative 1 over 3 with what? I need to write a bigger bracket. A negative 1 over 3 with what? With 338 over 27. Then the coordinates of E, as we can see, E is on the positive, X is 3, and the Y is negative 6. So these are now the coordinates. Then we go to the next question. We have to check the next question. It was having a Venn diagram. This is what we are given. So from what we are given here, this is what we are given. The question is saying 4 countries used. Okay. Research was conducted about driving under the influence of alcohol. Information obtained from traffic authorities in 54 countries on the method that are used to measure alcohol level in a person are summarized below. And if you check, these are the statistics. 4 countries use all the 3 methods, which is what we have here. 12 countries use alcohol content of breath and what is illustrated there. But now we have to take note. What is the question requiring? Here is all the information. So the question here is saying use the information and Venn diagram to determine the values of G, E, F, G. So if you are to check here, if we want to get the value of D, let's go straight. If you want to get the values of D here, that's where we have our D. You would see that D is representing that set B. If you check, D is representing that set B. But if you are to check here, sorry, D is part of set B there, and D is also part of set C there. But if you are to check, there's something which they said here about B and C. They said 9 countries use blood alcohol concentration, which is B, and certificate issued by doctors, which is C. So 9 countries use B and C. So if we are to check, yeah, it simply means according to what we are provided, this part, B and C, this part, yeah, there are 9 countries which are using that B and C because that part is representing B and C. That part is representing B and C. So here, they said 9 countries use B and C. So in other words, we can therefore conclude that D plus 4 there, we can conclude that D plus 4 must be equal to 9. Therefore, the D will be equal to 9 minus 5. So the 9 minus 4, which is going to give us 5. Then the next question, if we want E, here, what is that? If you say it's part of A and C, so what is happening between A and C? Here, they said 8 countries use the alcohol content of breath and certificate, which is A and C. 8 countries use A and C. So if you are to check A and C, it means we are going to concentrate on this part here. That's A and C. So it therefore means that E plus 4 must be equal to 8 because we are told that 8 countries use A and C. So this was, so if we are to check, this is A, this this is C. So A and C is this region I put in green. So we can therefore solve for E. It therefore means that the E will be equal to 8 minus 4, which gives us 4. Then F, there is F. If you check, it's in this part C. So it means, what are we going to do? We have to go to the data. What are they saying about C? If you check here, it is, they said 20 countries use certificates issued by doctor. And take 20 countries use certificates issued by doctor. And the part which is having certificates which are issued by doctor, it's here. In other words, the whole circle for C there. So in other words, what it simply means is that D plus, let me use another color to write because it's not clear. So what it simply means there is that D we add everything in that circle plus 4 plus E plus F must be equal to 20 because we are told that 20 uses C. But already D we know is 5 plus 4 plus E we already know it's 4 plus F must be equal to 20. So making F the subject of the formula, it means F is equal to 20 minus 5 minus 4 minus 4 when you take them to that side. So our F becomes equal to 7. Then we go to the next question. They want us to do so the next question is G. If you check G, it means this is our G, this circle A. That's where we are having G. So this whole circle, that's where we are having G. Hey, what's happening now? This whole circle, that's where we are having our G. So it means 4 plus E plus G plus 8 is equal to what? Is everything in A, and you are told that in A there are 21, and the 21 use content of breath, which is A, alcohol content of breath, which is 21. So 4 plus E, E we already know that E is 4 plus G plus 8 is equal to 21. It therefore means our G will be equal to 21 minus 8 minus 4 minus 4. So it's going to give us 5. So based on our calculations, we would realize that the answers that we got here, the answers that we got there, here are there. So we found that our D here is equal to 5. Our E here is equal to 4. Then our F here is equal to 7. Then our G here is equal to 5. These are the answers that we obtained. Then the last part is saying, for randomly selected countries, calculate probability of A and B and C. And if you check from the graph, a number of A and B and C is what we are going to take. So number of A and B and C is this part. where we have everything. How many are there? It means there are 4. Divided by how many countries were there altogether? So number of countries that were there altogether, you are told that 54 countries were part of the survey. So it means it's that one divided by 54. Then reduce that, is going to give us 2 divided by 27 as our final answer. Thank you.